do begin with a terrible reality sinking in after wildfires raced across Maui.
It's devastating what's happening in Hawaii and continues.
So sad. The death toll there, 36, and could go up.
Yeah.
Now to the Maui wildfires, where the death toll stands at 115. The search for the hundreds still unaccounted for entered a new phase today.
The death toll rising and likely to go higher.
Still get dead bodies in the water floating and on the seawall. They've been sitting there since last night. We've been pulling people out since last night, trying to save people's lives. And I feel like we're not getting the help we need. This is a nationwide issue at this point. Yeah, we need help, a lot of help. We gotta get people down here.
I don't want to compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. And lightning struck at home on a little lake that's outside of our home, not a lake, a big pond, and hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating ducts, the air conditioning duct. To make a long story short, I almost lost my wife, my 67 Corvette, and my cat.
There's a reason Jonathan Herzog's video has been viewed over 1 million times. It tells the story of Front Street in those crucial hours of 3 p.m., 4 p.m., and 5 p.m. Jonathan Herzog's day didn't just end with roadblocks, but it began with them during his AM commute from Kihei.
And then as I got into Lahaina, they were redirecting us all around through these back streets, and branches were coming down.
On his way to Kaanapali, Herzog started filming as he entered town, sensing unusual conditions.
The winds were the worst winds I've ever been in my life.
When he was later heading home through Lahaina town just before 3 p.m., he hit this roadblock on the southbound highway at Kapuna Kea before the Cannery Mall. Herzog backtracked to where Front Street meets the highway. Traffic moved well enough at that time to rejoin the highway near Lahaina Luna here. At 3:19, his camera shows a police vehicle blocking access to the highway at Papalaua. But nothing had eased up, so without GPS, he heads north to look for an open route. His first view of the fire at 3:24 p.m. on the hillside, and just before 4 p.m., he ends up in this line of cars on Front Street, in gridlock.
Let's go now. I'm ready to go now. Why wait? Early bird gathers no moss. Rolling stone catches the worm, right?
What are you doing? Truman!
Where shall we go? Where shall we go?
Truman, where are we
I
going?
don't really know. I guess I'm being spontaneous. Somebody help me! I'm being spontaneous!
Truman!
Forget Fiji. Can't very well drive to Fiji, can we? What about Atlantic City?
Oh, no, you hate to gamble.
That's right, I do, don't I?
So why would you want to go there?
Because I never have. That's why people go places, isn't it?
Truman, I think I'm gonna throw up.
Me too! Locked at every turn. Beautifully synchronized, don't you agree?
You're blaming me for the traffic?
Should I?
Just sat there, I think it was a good 25 minutes, something like that.
Holy cow, dude. So now the smoke is virtually blocking out the light. I am gonna make my way down to the water.
At 4:26, Herzog abandoned his car at Kingdom Hall and walked to Mala Wharf.
It was obvious the fire was out of control, so that's when I decided to leave the vehicle completely.
Passing vehicle after vehicle, he noticed of those on the bridge.
All of those cars were still sitting there, just same exact spots.
KITV4 reported on the other side of the Cannery Mall that Herzog passed by in the 4 p.m. hour. The highway was completely shut down for 2.5 hours at Keawe Street until at least 5:24 p.m. Traffic routed towards Front Street. At 5:30, Herzog comes to the end of Front Street, and to his surprise,
Looks like 2 police vehicles parked kind of nose to that exit for Front Street. kind of at a V like this. The traffic had basically bottlenecked right there. So there were cars in both lanes trying to go north by this point, but everyone was stopped on Front Street right there.
As the maintenance worker walked past the gridlock, heading north on foot, at 5:33 p.m. motorists had been fleeing into the water, as seen in Noah Tompkinson's video, 1 mile to the south of the Front Street roadblock near Baker, 2 blocks south of where Herzog had abandoned his car.
Truman, let's go home.
You're right. We could be stuck here for hours. It could be like this all the way to Atlantic City. Let's go back. I'm sorry. I don't know what got into me.
Can you please slow down?
Yes, I can.
Truman, that door turned off.
I changed my mind. What's New Orleans like this time of year? Mardi Gras! Look, Farrell. Same road. No cars. It's magic.
You let me out, Truman. You're not right in the head. You want to destroy yourself, you do it on your own.
I think I'd like a little company.
We're hurting because not only we've lost our historical places and our homes, but we've lost our loved ones.
And tonight, there's new concern over how aware Maui County officials were of the conditions on the ground August 8th, in part because of this interview Mayor Richard Bisson gave to local station KITV just after 6 p.m.
I'm happy to report that the road is open to and from Lahaina.
But in fact, by this point, the fire had already spread into downtown Lahaina.
Oh my God, I can't see anything. We're surrounded by fire. Jesus, please help us.
The mayor seemingly unaware that much of downtown was ablaze, and many residents were either caught in or were fleeing the flames.
We have reports of structures, older buildings that have been burned in Lahaina. Our update is actually going to come in at about 7 p.m.
And late to comprehend just how devastating the fires actually were.
Oh, Truman. You knew this would happen. You know you can't drive over water. Just go home where you'll feel safe.
Give me your hand.
Sweetie.
Drive.
Truman! We shouldn't be doing this, Truman! We're breaking the law! Oh, my!
You can do it!
Please don't, please!
You can make it!
Oh, Truman! Run for the bridge! Run for the bridge! Run for the bridge! Run for the bridge!
Grover!
Truman, what about that sign?
You're exaggerating. We'll be fine.
Exaggerating? What, would you believe that? Truman,
Go back!
oh my, Truman, we're on fire!
It's okay.
We're on fire!
It's just smoke. Just smoke. You okay?
Yes!
You want to do it again?
No! Truman, stop!
What now?
Truman, looks like a leak at the plant.
Back up, back up! Leak at the plant. They had to shut her down.
Is there any way around?
Whole area is being evacuated.
Is there anything I can do?
No, ma'am.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome, Chairman.
Literally cannot get over there.
That's just the way it is.
Well,
I've been ordered not to let anyone across the bridge, so you can go through CSRD and see if they'll let you through, but right now you're not allowed across the bridge.
Came in on? No! Stop! Stop! I don't give a fuck! Stop! Stay back! Turn around! Where are your kids? Right at 501, right at the 505. We're blocking this road. We're blocking this road. Nobody's getting through.
The 100 acres of bush. That's where the liability issue comes in. Possibly be in the way of wildfires or other firefighting opportunities.
There is nobody out here besides us.
They sent all the kids home from school because of the wind advisory. And we found out yesterday that we lost a whole neighborhood of children.
Over 1,000 children are missing. I'm talking 1,050 kids gone without a trace. They have absolutely no clue where these children are.
I broke all the possible traffic rules that you can think of. I do not know why I didn't have any warnings. The authorities claim that the siren is only for tsunamis, but there's so many families that died because they were sleeping. They didn't know. A siren would have at least tell them, hey, something's happening. No text messages, nothing, absolutely nothing. And the next day I came back to get my animals, and I saw all the vehicles that I was like standing in traffic to escape town. They were still in there, all burned down. And it was only locals pulling bodies out of the water and pulling people out of the water because we had no help.
We found ourselves trapped on Front Street with fires coming at us. We had to make a decision to jump in the water. And at that time we did when the flames was too hot to stay in the car. And we decided to go into the ocean, and at that point I met that family that had 5 kids, and I was given the 2-year-old to hold, and I had him for a number of hours. It was like an explosion going off everywhere, like a fire goddess, just like throwing fireballs all over the place.
To Front Street, and there was all the cars were lined up, but none of them were moving. And I walked all the way from Safeway to the Chart House. Not one car had moved. And I was wondering what was stopping the traffic. Well, it was a policeman. And I got to the end and I looked up north. There were no obstructions. There was no reason to keep those cars there.
Are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm under orders to keep them here. And I said, the fire is right around Safeway. It's going to hit Front Street. You know, these people got to get out of here. And he said, I'm following orders.
No way.
And so I just kept walking. Well, maybe he knows something I don't, you know. So, and I keep walking down the highway, and I look behind, no cars are coming out. I walked all the way to Waikuli Beach, still no cars coming out. And I started hearing boom, boom, boom. And then I heard people screaming and stuff.
You're saying they were blockaded in by the police at the end of Front Street?
Yeah.
Like where the restaurant is?
Right, where the Chart House
Where the Chart House was, I should
Right.
say. There was a blockade there, and they could not go any further.
Right, I walked.
What the hell?
I walked all the way from Safeway to there. Not one car had moved, and people walking in front of me, the people in the cars are saying, "Would you like a ride?" And they're going, "Oh, okay." And they'd get in. They asked me, I said, "No, you better get out of here." You know, but they just, well, we were told to evacuate by car. Okay. So I just kept walking, and I got all the way to, like I said, the Civic Center, and then I started hearing all the explosions.
New videos show the inferno that engulfed Lahaina and how residents spent hours in the ocean to survive. Anger is growing. How did the nation's deadliest wildfire happen with no warning?
Did you get any type of alert?
No.
Google Maps has updated its images of Maui, of where it was burnt. So I want to show you the images, but I want to show you one spot first of asking, how did this place get set on fire? You see, the buildings are burnt there, but there's dirt all around here. In fact, there's even the baseball fields of where it's green with grass, while these other areas are burnt. This is how far away it was, is almost a quarter of a mile away. So how did fire burn that place down, but not the grass? Or what about this spot where there's 2 burnt cars? Y'all have seen the video of that. Because as I zoom out, you see that the buildings and everything are fine in the area. So how did they burn so bad that it was like molten metal? Why is realtors going onto YouTube in the areas to where the fire took place, showing houses that stayed and houses that was burnt down? And as you see him pan to this one, well, what is this? This is grass with a burnt down house. In fact, look at this one that I just paused on. There's a kid's toy, plastic, still sitting there. Grass, but house is demolished and burnt down. Could someone tell me these things? Why?
Okay, so I'm going to show you some damage here inside the burn zone, the disaster area of the Lahaina fire. This is a community called Kahoma Village. It's where I live. And I guess what I want to show here is, obviously you see the house right in front of me burned completely to the ground, completely to ashes. But then as I swing around the camera here, you're going to see that pretty much all the homes around it look basically untouched. Now off in the distance that way, you're going to see some more destruction, a few townhome buildings that were completely burnt to the ground, but all the way around it, again, a lot of townhome buildings and houses that look like they're untouched.
Fires in California, Australia, and now Hawaii are unlike anything we've ever seen before. They are being called forest fires and wildfires, but they are clearly something very different. These fires are burning homes into a white powdery ash footprint, while often leaving the surrounding green trees and shrubs practically untouched. In extreme cases, forest fires can reach temperatures up to 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit, and the melting point of aluminum is 1,220 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is possible for an extreme forest fire to melt aluminum. But there are cars with puddles of melted aluminum that were clearly not in the wildfire area. And melted glass, which has a melting point around 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. These are unexplained anomalies. In the California fires of 2018, cars were randomly bursting into flames on the freeway with no surrounding fires. In Maui, these unnatural fires spared the homes of the rich while burning the native homes of the working class. With precision, these fires destroyed the most envied, high-valued areas of Maui. For decades, directed energy weapons have been classified, but they have been on the public record for several years now. Directed energy weapons, known as DEWs, have the ability to burn homes with this sort of precision. But in order to be this precise, the area would have to be mapped out. In January of this year, green lasers were seen over Hawaii, which could best be described as a geospatial array for mapping terrain. We have seen that among the ashy ruins, there are blue-colored objects that have somehow survived the devastation. Blue cars, blue umbrellas, a blue boat, blue planters. Videos online are going viral that show how lasers can easily burn through certain colored objects, but objects that are colored blue remain unharmed.
You fools! You've erected a massive concave reflective surface. It will focus the sun's beam in a deadly ray.
We will rebuild! We will rebuild! We will rebuild!
We will rebuild. This morning, some relief for the people of Maui from two of Hollywood's biggest stars, Oprah and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, coming together to aid communities impacted by the wildfires, launching a fund with an initial donation of $10 million, but also asking for more help.
Where money was sent directly to each individual. And this idea all started because of Dolly. Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you, Dolly. Because when I sent that to Dwayne and he said, this sounds good. You mean we could put money directly into the hands of the people? And we've been having a meeting every day since that moment.
And, when Oprah had texted me this idea, first of all, we were texting when this tragedy took place. And the idea was, what can we do? And we're kicking ideas around. And
weren't we like everybody else?
Like everybody else.
How do we help?
How do we help? What do we do? Can we create something? Do we support something that's already in place? And in this time of need, you want to take care of the greatest need of the people, and that's giving them money.
We have put $10 million to start the fund of our own money and are looking forward to the help of every person who called me and said, what can I do? This is what you can do. The People's Fund of Maui, because every dollar that you send is going to go into an account that goes directly to the people. We wanted to honor and respect the culture. So no decision has been made, not the smallest decision or the largest decision, without conferring with the community leaders who have supported us in this effort. We said, is this what you want? They said, yes, this is what we want now. It doesn't mean that there aren't many things to happen later, and having them not just give us their blessing, but have a seat at the table in making the decision.
Oprah lives here in Maui. I was raised in these islands. My family are buried in these islands. So just knowing everything that took place, knowing the trauma that has taken place, and knowing that it's going to take a long time to rebuild.
We will rebuild. We will rebuild.
Probably get a little worse before it gets a little better, but we're here doing what we could do in our, perhaps in a long-term small way, but we're very, very grateful and also very proud, by the way, of our community.
We will continue the fund for as long as you all help us continue the fund.
You're so concerned about what's happening in Maui that you somehow managed to hire a private firefighting team to protect your land before the fires started.
What?
You're so concerned about what's happening in Maui that instead of taking some of that land and housing even a small portion of those displaced people, you've hired a private security team to keep them off your land. You're so concerned about Maui that you simply haven't had time to denounce any of the shady real estate deals which are robbing people of everything they have, you know, like the ones you were involved in that helped you acquire that land for pennies on the dollar of what it was actually worth. You're so concerned about Maui that instead of taking what would amount to a year's salary for you and 4 or 5 of your billionaire friends, which could be used to rebuild the entire place in a matter of months, you're jumping on social media and asking the American public, most of whom can't afford to pay their rent right now, to do it for you. You're so concerned about Maui that it's more important that you get social media points than that you help.
Oprah, I want to shift gears a little bit and turn to the Hawaii wildfires and the efforts to help those in need. The People's Fund of Maui was created by you and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, in which you both poured time, effort, and millions to kick it off yourselves, yet and still it faced online criticism. I want to give you the opportunity to kind of give your thoughts on that.
Well, this is a really great point about being happier in the midst of an onslaught of being terrorized and vilified online. I will say this, I came out of this experience, I was just saying this to Arthur this morning, with so much more compassion for young kids, because I was thinking, what if I didn't really know who I am? What if I didn't have the assurance of Invictus, that I am the master of my own fate and the captain of my soul?
It would have taken you down.
It will take you out. So all of the online, being
slander and
attacks, lies, conspiracy theories, really took the focus off of what was the most important thing, and that was the people of Maui. So this idea came about. So
getting the money into the hands of the people.
Directly into the hands of the people.
Right
so
now.
to set up the infrastructure for that, The Rock and his team and my team, we were literally on I don't know how many Zooms to set up the infrastructure for the verification process to be able to drop money into people's accounts. And we thought, because both of us have given to charities our whole life. I've been giving to charity since my first paycheck, a tither.
And still do that,
And still do that. Okay, so we thought starting the fund with $10 million would be a great idea, because any of us who've ever been to any benefit, you know, you go to a benefit and somebody gives $10 million, that's called a good night.
Right.
So we thought $10 million would start off the fund, we'll do what Dolly did, get other people to give money, and then we'll put it directly into the people's bank accounts. I was so excited. I was so excited about it.
It's still a good idea.
And then I got up the next morning.
You still should be.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I got up the next morning and I saw all of this vitriol and I was like, whoa, what happened here? So this is what I want to say. I want to say that, I think in the beginning, so many people were calling, asking, where do we give our money to? So I thought, I'm going to give people a place to create. We're going to create something. And I still think it's a really strong idea.
So visceral and so tragic no legislator would avoid the issue. Everyone will focus on the issue. Now, hopefully, it won't just be 1 year worth. The problem we have, of course, is we are now in it. We are in an era of global, climate change. And what we do in Hawaii, we will be able to lead by example as far as mitigating efforts and our pain. When people see the pain that we have suffered, they're going to take us seriously. It's an unusual thing for a person like me to get to speak to a very broad audience, a broad international audience, but I will make this case. Smart
He said it.
Legislatures
Smart
and
cities.
Governments.
He's about to say it. Did you catch that? Smart cities.
Fire mitigation.
Oh my God.
Governments will turn their backs.
He's going to say it. Rewind it. Wait.
Eventually experience a terrible disaster like this. But I will make this case. Smart
He said it.
Legislatures
Smart
and
cities.
Governments.
He's about to say it. Did you catch that? Smart cities.
Smart cities, yes, in Hawaii. That's what you wanted to say. Hello guys, this is me, StrangerThanFiction, and no, that wasn't a stroke. I couldn't help but mock this Governor Josh Green, this fool. You already heard how he said that people need to take Hawaii seriously after what they've suffered, basically indicating that this was an example if people will not bow their knee to the global warming. But I have to say that people are giving too much credit to these minions of Satan and the infamous global elite. If we know that the wrath of God is rapidly coming upon this world, then ultimately it's God who is taking action against people's sin, and Satan is his instrument of choice. Satan is a tool of punishment if people aren't following God's will. And yes, even if direct energy weapons were involved in this whole mess, it doesn't really matter. The point is that you need to read what Amos chapter 3 verse 6 says, and it says this: "Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord hath not done it?" Now, if you're a righteous person, you will not see anything wrong with this verse, since you understand that God has to step in to stop wickedness worldwide. But if you're lost, you probably think that it's the satanic cabal doing all of it. Yeah, and God doesn't know about them, right? No, I see it as a form of punishment, like with all the weather catastrophes that are happening while we speak. Remember that God will cause the book of Revelation come to pass. He will unleash the Antichrist upon the world, and all the plagues on the wicked who rejected Jesus Christ.
Oh my God!
I do not want to sound like a heartless monster. Of course, it's sad what happened in Hawaii, but please understand my reasoning here. I will read 1 Peter 4:17. It says, "For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of God?" Just something to think about.
Alright, go. Go. Keep it moving. Bitch ass nigga! Stop talking shit, bitch! Stop talking shit! Nigga! Fuck wrong with blood? Ready? Yeah. Hit his ass.
The rest of the video will be random clips, some will be cringy and stupid, some will be related to each other, some won't. Just what I noticed over the last few weeks while I was working and keeping an eye on Maui. As usual, the war is ramping up as well. Now Ukrainian refugees in the European Union countries are receiving letters demanding to return to Ukraine within 2 weeks or be forcefully deported. Everyone who can fight, without exception. Yeah, the meat grind continues. As Zelensky said, till the last Ukrainian. After all, democracy must be established in Ukraine at all costs.
Друзья, короче, время нездоровых новостей, я не знаю, что делать. Короче, пришло мне только что письмо, вот такое вот, моя фотография с печатью, все. Я его перевел, тут написано, что Украина дала запрос. По мнению властей Украины, я выехал на территории Евросоюза незаконно. Хотя я выезжал законно, никаких справок я не покупал. Вот, я сразу вам говорил, как я выехал. Вот, и в течение 2 недель, тут написано, я должен покинуть Евросоюз. Вот. В противном случае я буду принудительно выслан на территорию Украины. Вот. Я даже не знаю, что делать. Может, напишите в комментариях, потому что я считаю, это полнейший бред, и это незаконно со стороны Евросоюза высылать человека в зону, там, где идутся боевые действия. Тем более, что мне грозит там большой срок на территории Украины.
Доброе утро всем русскоговорящим. Я думаю, что вы уже слышали новость, но я напомню тем, кто не знает. Уже официально, если тебя остановила полиция и ты граждан Украины, тебя отправляют на Украину. Тебя отправляют на фарш. Ну, по-другому не скажешь. Вы же знаете. На фарш. И уже начали отправлять письма всем дома. Германия, наверное, первая, которая уже делает это. Так что те патриоты, которые кричат в центре Франкфурта, просто я видел там пиздец творился. Флаги Украины и все слава Украине, героям слава. Ну, так, герои, вперед, ваш выход. До последнего украинца, до последнего. Всем удачи.
I would push back on the assertion from Russian officials. Here, the CDC has stated that there is no evidence that the depleted uranium rounds cause cancer. The World Health Organization reports that there's been no increase of leukemia or other cancers and that have been established following any exposure to uranium or DU. These are standard issue rounds. These are what these Abrams tanks will use. And many militaries across the world use depleted uranium in their tanks. So we feel that these will be the most effective rounds to counter Russian tanks and will help help the Ukrainians to defend the battlefield, to defend their territory.
At number 4, depleted uranium. And now we start getting into the territory where you can really hurt bystanders. Uranium is a byproduct of nuclear enrichment, but whilst it's not all that radioactive in itself, it is very, very dense, and it's just lying around after the enrichment process, which makes it ideal for armor-piercing bullets and tank shells. So why is it so horrible? Well, when the shell hits the tank, it fractures into several razor-sharp chunks in a fine powder so hot it burns on contact with air. So when it gets through the tank hull, it sprays razor-sharp shards of metal around and a huge fireball is formed, making life very unpleasant once again for the people inside. And once it's done that, all the powder flies into the atmosphere and settles on the ground, where it eventually gets ingested by the local population or other soldiers. The health risks are disputed by some studies, especially claims that it causes cancer, but when ingested it can have horrible effects. Hospitals in parts of the Balkans and Iraq have reported massive increases in child leukemia and birth defects. In fact, in Fallujah, the infant mortality rate due to those two factors alone is 13.6%. Although depleted uranium shells are still in wide-scale use, the UN has recommended that they could potentially fall under the title of chemical weapons, which would make their use illegal.
Did you know that the Iraqi city of Fallujah has the highest rate of birth defects in the world? Yes, higher even than Hiroshima and Nagasaki after the US dropped atomic bombs on them in World War II. 17 years ago, the US and its allies lied about weapons of mass destruction and illegally invaded Iraq, causing a trail of sectarian violence, civil war, destruction, poverty, and the rise of Daesh. The offensive also plagued a generation with cancers, increased miscarriages, as well as horrific birth defects in newborns throughout much of Iraq. From congenital heart disease to deformed limbs to spina bifida, the list is endless. Doctors say that one of the most plausible reasons for this could be the weapons made with depleted uranium and white phosphorus that were used during the fighting.
I am working here since 1997. It means before the invasion of Fallujah by about 7 years. According to my experience and also according to my colleagues' experience, there was an increasing number of birth defects during the last few years. Let me say from about 2005 till now.
A byproduct of enriching uranium, depleted uranium, is used to power nuclear reactors. But because of its armor-piercing capability, it's also used to make bullets and shells. When used, their radioactive dust contaminates the surrounding area, which can cause gene mutations that can pass from one generation to another. In Fallujah, doctors have reported a staggering increase in abnormalities, an average of 30 cases a month. Many of them have no family history of congenital diseases.
We collected samples from the babies affected with birth defects and their families. Nearly all the samples show some levels of chemicals and depleted uranium.
Sometimes the cases are so severe that newborns don't make it. There are cemeteries that are full of graves of children. In the two wars in 1991 and 2003, at least 400 tons of depleted uranium ammunition is believed to have been fired, mostly by US forces. It contaminated large swathes of the country. Fallujah, an opposition stronghold against the US occupation in 2004, was the worst hit, and the massive military assaults completely razed it. This was once a football field, and then the American forces arrived. Now it's a cemetery known to locals as the Graveyard of Martyrs.
How I feel about the character, but you know, the character's a Marxist. I'm not a Marxist. I'm an anarchist. So in that sense, we differ. You know, I'm the kind of guy who just thinks it's abominable when a superpower with all this military might, with no provocation, you know, attacks just unprovoked, attacks a country that is, Iraq, Korea, no, sorry, Ukraine. Terrible. Yeah, I lost my way there.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Okay, you guys ready? Tell the mainstream media, hey, you're not telling the truth about my positions. They tell me, well, go jump in a lake.
Yes, send more clowns in the fake political world. Gotta grab the attention of gullible supporters by acting like a retard. It's normal nowadays. I hope Biden and Trump does something similar. Imagine fighting child trafficking with ice bucket challenges and backflips. You know what this whole nonsense remind me of? I will show you the clip right now.
And I'm going to try it. If we meet our fundraising goal of $5 million by midnight on September 30th, I'm going to jump in this like...
Sit your monkey ass down. Chill out. Shit. I know shit's bad right now, with all that starving bullshit, and the dust storms, and we running out of French fries and burrito coverings.
Yeah.
But I got a solution.
That's what you said last time, dipshit. I got a solution. You're a dick. South Carolina, what's
up? That's what I thought. Now, I understand everyone's shit's emotional right now, but listen up. I got a 3-point plan to fix everything. Number one, we got this guy not sure. Number two, he's got a higher IQ than any man alive. And number three, he's gonna fix everything. I give you my word as president. He'll fix the problems with all the dead crops. He's gonna make them grow again. And that ain't all. I give you my word. He's gonna fix the dust storms too. And I give you my word. He's gonna fix the economy. He's so smart. He's gonna do it all in 1 week.
President Camacho stood before the world and promised everyone that Joe would solve all their problems. He would not only end the Dust Bowl and heal the economy, but he would cure acne and car sickness as well. And if he didn't, President Camacho made another promise. He would kick Joe's smart balls all the way up to the roof of his smart mouth, and then he would throw his brainy ass back in jail.
Are you paying attention?
Hello there, you Awakening Wonders. Now, this isn't the usual type of video we make on this channel where we critique, attack, and undermine the news in all its corruption, because in this story, I am the news. I've received 2 extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, one from a mainstream media TV company, one from a newspaper, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff, like my community festival should be stopped, that I shouldn't be able to attack mainstream media narratives on this channel. But amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies, and as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream media didn't approve of, and we saw a spate of headlines from media outlets across the world using the same language. I'm aware that you guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth, Russell Brand did not kill himself. I know that a year ago there was a spate of articles, Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist, Russell Brand's right wing. I'm aware of news media making phone calls, sending letters to people I know for ages and ages. It's been clear to me, or at least it feels to me, like there's a serious and concerted agenda to control these kind of spaces and these kind of voices, and I mean my voice along with your voice. I don't mind them using my books and my stand-up to talk about my promiscuous consensual conduct in the past. What I seriously refute are these very, very serious criminal allegations. Also, it's worth mentioning...
Many of you are aware that Russell is an expert in mind control. New Ager, Kundalini Yoga, Satanist, all that crap. Controlled opposition, all that flapping with the hands and fast speech, it's subliminal distractions. Just like these sexual allegations are one big distraction. Part of this is to make him look legit. Like, look at me, I worked at the media once and was involved with Satanic Hollywood, but not anymore. Look how they're attacking me. It's a charade. I don't know why, but I found this to be exceptionally funny. Listen.
This is my wife.
Good morning, Holy Father.
My daughters. Three.
Three Mary.
Thank you.
Sophia.
And my brother Frank.
Good morning, Scarlett. Good morning, Sistine.
And my brother Frank. Holy Father. Well, thank you very much for taking time of your busy days. We appreciate this very much.
I'm honored.
Well, thank you. I'm honored too.
Ma noi siamo cresciuti con I vostri film.
We grew up with your films.
Wow.
Ready? Rebox. Oh, that's so, yeah, ready? Well, it's so great. I appreciate it so much. And
So happy to meet you. Thank you, Holy Father.
it's amazing. Thank you.
È stato un piacere vederla. Loro tanti ricordi da bambino.
It's nice to see you. I have many memories as a child of watching you.
Oh, that's very nice. I appreciate that. That's so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless. Thank you. God bless you.
Before ending the video, I will ask you to please leave a like, write a comment and consider supporting further work. And thank you to everyone who does. May the Lord Jesus Christ show this to whoever has eyes to see and ears to hear. Amen. And I will be seeing you in the next video. Take care.